Hello, everyone. Let's get started. Welcome to the monthly EVerest Technical Steering Committee. I think there's quite some interesting news for you today. Before we dive totally into this, there might be competitors here in the room, and I'll show you, please be kind, please whisper. And yeah, let's dive into our monthly update. So we have, as always, quick recap, what is EVerest about? If you already know all of that, in the YouTube recording afterwards, you can just go to the chapter selection and just skip this agenda point and then directly dive into the updates. Okay, what's EVerest? Why are we here today? So we are part of the Linux Foundation Energy, which is a big consortia of open source projects regarding the power grid of the future, which will be way more software involved. And we are basically the gateway to the cars, which sounds so small, but there's actually a lot of things you have to do to be the gateway to the cars. So this industry is huge. A lot of players from all of these different industries trying to play in the pool of EV charging. So the industry is quite fragmented. You have a lot of different solutions, not really compatible. And what we as an open source project want to do here is provide a cost and time effective solution to get together and to also improve user experience by get better compatibility between all the products. And what EVerest is a firmware stack running in a charger. It's super customizable because it's super modular. You can click together different modules to develop whatever charger goal you have, from AC charging, DC charging, multiple charge points with one central machine, energy management, or simulated setups. Everything is possible. And those modules basically deal with communication, at least a lot of them. Because the charger has a lot of communication interfaces to home and solar batteries, to other consumption devices like heat pumps, to neighbor chargers, to cars, to cloud and payment systems, to human interfaces, solar forecasts, and basically, last but not least, the electric grid. And for each of these links, there's a lot of protocols, and our goal is to provide support every of those protocols. No, we're not here to create a new standard. As I mentioned, there are already dozens of standards out there. Our goal is to just cover them all, because if we would be a new standard, then afterwards we would have even more standards and nothing is solved. So in our opinion, it should not be a super standard. It should just be the set of all standards. But what we also sometimes say is we don't want to be compliant with one standard. We want to be compliant with the dirty world out there. So it should work with every car, with every solar, with every power grid, with every backend. And for your playground, for example, Pionix is offering reference hardware. It's also entirely open hardware, actually, where you can play along with, try out AC charging, theory, even bidirectional. Computer-wise and communication-wise, also prepared for DC. We're not doing this alone. There's also a lot of other companies offering EVerest-compatible solutions. Phytech, Texas Instruments, our friends from ChargeByte also here in the call today, Lumicil, and actually there's more joining all the time. And if you're interested to join, just give us a ping to our mailing list. Yeah, as I mentioned, it's a big ecosystem out of Linux Foundation, a lot of companies from the supply chain, from the charging industry, from academia, and also hackers and makers are also part of our community. So, and what's new for this week, or basically for this month? Maybe just giving you a quick overview. There was a lot of things happening on the Testival. We have a lot of really interesting software updates. Unfortunately, spoiler alert, we haven't got it ready into one software release for this month. So this will maybe be delayed by 1 to 2 weeks. We'll give you a ping because we want to make sure that the quality is right before we release it. I mean, all the code is already on GitHub, so you can try it out, but we will make a package out of this in the next days and weeks. So Pete is not. You want to dive into the Testival? You have been there?
I have not been there.
Yeah, not on this one, right? On the one before. But Sebastian, you have been there.
Yeah.
Want to cover that?
Yeah, of course. So we were on the CharIn Testival in Arnhem last week, and it was really great. Yeah, we've tested with our new device, the µMWC charger. I think in the next slide there's some information about that. Officially, we tested with 7 EVs and 1 test system and 2 heavy trucks, so with electrical trucks. So yeah, basic DIN and ISO communication worked very well, and we had the first successful plug-and charging with Mercedes-Benz prototype. So overall, it was really fun.
Yeah, and I think one of the really fun tools was that we now brought this little box here, which was able to even charge trucks. It's offering up to 1 watt, powered by a small battery pack up to 1,250 volts. And with a local OCPP backend, we can also do AC protocol testing, then without power delivery, or DC testing with voltage delivery at least. Display will be added, and yeah, as Sebastian already sneaked in, officially we tested a certain amount of cars. Unofficially, this was super handy, so we could also test all the cars in front of the Testival, by just walking around asking strangers and plugging it in if they're fine with this. And out of that, we got a really long list of compatible cars that will be released after this meeting. It's a new repo within the EVerest project. First of all, there's a lot of subfolders with all kind of ISO communication log files for all the different vehicles we tested. At least those we allowed to share. There are also prototype vehicles we tested. So here you see the big list. The prototype vehicles from this Testival, no log files have been released because we have no permission to do that. And if you scroll through this list, there's basically AC capabilities, DC capabilities, ISO, -2, -20. We also tested this bidirectional charging maybe accidentally works in DIN spec or with an ISO mode. And if yes, how long can we discharge? And do we see any other constraints? And also we see like if they're a fixed MAC address or random MAC address. So this basically can be used to find out which car can we actually discharge and use for bidirectional charging. For example, the Ioniq 5, I think up to our current opinion, with ISO-2 mode, you can use it as a bidirectional car unofficially, but it works. It works with EVerest because, as I said, we are real world compliant, so which is better than standard compliant in our opinion. Actually, you can choose in a config file which mode you prefer, but we offer both. So going back to the EVerest presentation. As I said, that repo will go online and will be added and polished all the time. So each new Testival and new vehicles will be added. New SLAC module. Kai or Pete, who want to cover that? Or who can cover it?
Should I, Kai? I mean,
yeah, sure.
Yeah, I'm not really into it, but I think we rewrote that module in order to test with multiple connections over SLAC, so that we can handle several vehicles at the same time. Maybe Sebastian can elaborate a little bit more on that. I think we also tested that on the Testival and weren't too successful yet, but I guess we will rework that to enable multiple connections using SLAC. Not sure if you want to add something to it, Sebastian. Feel free.
I think that's fine.
Okay.
Okay. libfsm, I think it's also related.
Yeah, we also rewrote that, and it's actually used by some stacks, like OCPP, for example, or the authorization module was using it, is now not using it anymore. But it needed a refactoring for extending the context that you can set within your states. And yeah, we will discuss that also internally. Probably we will use the libfsm also for OCPP 2.0.1. We're not sure yet. Right now, the state machine is not using libfsm, but the one for 1.6 is. So yeah, we will discuss that which of our modules or our stacks are going to use that in the future. But it's kind of a central library for us. Yeah, so considering the testing framework, maybe I can say something about that as well. We started to increase the test coverage. So until this point, we started to set everything up so that the framework itself is working and is automatically integrated. We are quite close with that to integrate that automatically in our GitHub pipelines. So the tests will run automatically on pull requests. So now we started to increase the test coverage with some basic tests and prepare that to run in the automatic CI testing.
OCPP.
Yes, we basically finished 1.6 and started with the development of 2.0.1. We aim to have the basic implementation, which is described in the introduction document. For the next Everest release, as Marco already mentioned, we are not quite sure when we are going to release it, in about 1 or 2 weeks. But in this or the next release, we will cover all of the use cases and messages that are specified within this introduction document. The messages that we support now, or like we have support for them, but do not support all the use cases that are related to those messages, but we have basic support for boot notification, status notification, meter value, transaction events, reset and authorize. And are currently working on change availability, which is also somehow related to state machines. So we will see how we can integrate the libfsm there, maybe. But what you can actually already do today is to run basic transactions with OCPP 2.0.1 already with proper transaction events and meter values that are used, and some basic authorization. And what else is coming up is a test event, or like 2 test days in Berlin together with Hubject, where we can test the plug and charge implementation that does not only count for OCPP, but also for the ISO stack or the ISO stacks that we have. And we will test the plug and charge there with real cars. I think we did it at the CharIn Testival as well. I think not many cars support a plug and charge. I think we could only test against 1, but there, at least the authorization was successful, but the certificate install request, we couldn't test that because I think the car didn't support it. I heard that in Berlin, the cars that are there also do not support the certificate install request, but I mean, that's not a big problem, so you can still test plug and charge there.
Maybe one question from my side. So will also OCPP 2.0 with plug and charge be tested in Berlin? Or is that
actually, that's a good question, but I think it'll be 1.6 because we are not ready with 2.0.1.
Okay.
I hope it'll be 1.6, but I'm quite sure that that's true. Yeah, I think. Yeah, I know that we are using the Grid and Co backend there, so, and I think they are not ready with 2.0.1, so it's probably 1.6.
Yep. Short update on the FCV2G module. The TLS 1.2 support was merged today. This means using the certificate infrastructure of Everest for TLS connections. There's a pull request in preparation for the plug and charge authorization support. And as already mentioned, also our ChargeByte colleagues were at the CharIn Testival doing a lot of plug and charge testing as well, a lot of focus on that and on the FCV2G module. If we skip on to the XC codec generator. So now, since last time we reported, we've fixed the code paths for the DIN and ISO EIM.
DC and AC paths, so those messages that we know can be encoded and decoded properly. We still have some small issues for the plug and charge data types, so we cannot encode and decode them properly right now. We're still doing some more testing on that, what we do support. The current state is already being integrated experimentally into ChargeByte's products right now. There will be some testing taking place next week with that, which is not supposed to test the codec originally, but actually the stack, but it will do both things at the same time. And we've now, while we still have those issues mentioned above in the focus, we will be concentrating on finally doing the -20 support now and completing all those message sets, because many customers are actually, and products are waiting for that support now. And we just mentioned, by the way, we are eager for traffic dumps from -20 communications, so we have more messages to decode. We've been promised the first set now by a partner, but we still don't have very much of those, so quite theoretical work at the moment.
All right, just a few upcoming things to teaser them in the EVerest framework. We started work on having real shutdown handlers for the modules now. This is obviously it's still a work in progress, and we're trying to figure out a few things how we really want to do them. So it's not in this release yet, but maybe next time. And it'll kind of work like the existing init and ready handlers of modules. That module will get a heads up from EVerest that EVerest wants it to shut down. Then the module can kind of start cleaning up after itself, and then in the end basically signal that it's ready to shut down and do some proper cleanup. Let's see when this lands. But still a work in progress. Like Marco also mentioned in the beginning, there's not yet been a April 2023 release yet. We'll probably need a few more days for that release, since there's some more fixes and changes that we really want to merge into this merge window this time. So an announcement for when this release will be done will be sent via our mailing list and all the channels where you can get news about EVerest.
You're muted, Marco.
So what's next? What's coming up? We already highlighted that a bit. OCPP 2.0 is in the making, as you have seen, and probably the first, let's say, basic implementation which can charge will be there, maybe even this release, and more is about to come. Pure C++ again, and open source. The XC parser and parser generator for the -20 is in the making, and later this year, energy management will be advanced. IEEE 2030.5 will follow, ADR, EE-bus, and the entire ISO state machine for the -20. Yeah, looking forward to that. There are already, I think, for Char demo, we also got recently a request. Someone wanted to donate that to EVerest and help us coding with this. So really looking forward to extend this community. And there are a lot of upcoming events where EVerest team will be present, and I guess this is not even the complete list. These are just the ones I know from Pionix. So we will be as observer at Volz, Energy Now in Eindhoven, Plug and Charge Festival, as already mentioned, eWorld in Essen, LF Energy Summit in Paris. By the way, really nice summit around open source and the Linux Foundation Energy. EVSE Summit in Sacramento, Power to Drive Munich, Move Conference in London, Embedded Open Source Summit in Prague, probably on the Chaos Computer Club camp this summer. Let's see. Oh, the Gulasch Programmiernacht is missing. Yeah, we'll also probably be on that, which is in Karlsruhe. Intercharge Network Conference and the Drop Conference. And if you are on some of them, just let us know. Let's meet there. And if you want to present Everest on another Testival or event, just let us know as well. We're happy to support you. And next Everest Technical Steering Committee or monthly update call will be 25th of May. Same time, same YouTube channel, and same Google Meet links. And if you want to work and support us in our daily operation, either, first of all, subscribe to the mailing list. And if you do so, you can also get the invite for the weekly call, which we're doing 10 p.m. on Tuesdays, 10 a.m. on Tuesdays, European time. And there we'll discuss all the merge requests, all the details going on, and even architectural discussions. Happy to have you there as well. And now let's stop recording.